Time now for the news review segment. We get into a conversation on some of the topical issues, and my able guest will help me bring perspectives, different perspectives to these issues. But the show is very interactive, so we want to hear from you. Send us your thoughts, your comments, and your contributions via our social media platforms. We're live on YouTube. We're on Facebook as well. We're very active on X, very engaging on IG, that's Instagram, and you can enjoy some video content from ChannelOne TV on TikTok as well. Send your comments and your contributions via the WhatsApp number on your screens. Let us know what you think, and we'll do our best to read them out to the rest of the viewing public. I have three gentlemen in the studio this morning. We're going to go straight into the conversations. Dr. Palgrave Boakye Dankwa is here, member of the New Patriotic Party, member of the Kennedy Ohene Ejapon team. He is connected. They picked #1 on the NPP's ballot. We'll get into a conversation on that later on the show. Elvis Dakon is here. He is the editor of the News Center newspaper, as well as newscenter.com. Go check out that website and, of course, patronize the newspaper. Then we have the Deputy CEO of the Forestry Commission, Comrade Elikem Kotoko, is also here. Gentlemen, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
It's good to have you. I hope the weekend was good.
This is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it.
And we are rejoicing because we picked #1.
Well, we are rejoicing because God has been good to us.
Amen.
It's a new week.
Amen.
And of course, yes, very special greetings from Kennedy Ejapon, the next flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, and the next president of the Republic of Ghana. Of course, we did pick #1, and we are very certain that primus inter pares, he is going to be the leader of the party. We are encouraged and continually engaging with the delegates and reminding them that it's in the interest of Ghana that we bring Kennedy Ejapon as the next president of the Republic of Ghana.
Very well. We'll get into NPP matters later on, but let's begin with this matter of military recruitment. 2 NDC MPs are calling for age requirement extension. So you have the Member of Parliament for Ningo Prampram and Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Samuel Nate George. And then you have the whip on the majority side. Mr. Dafia Mekpo, the Honorable Dafia Mekpo, asking that there is an increase in the age limit for recruitment into the Ghana Army. Doc, I'll start with you. You are a security person. You have a security background. When you heard this news, in fact, let's begin with our current system. What you make of it, and if it is feasible to increase the age limit for recruitment into the military.
Nana, I have told you how troubling I have been since the demise of the Honorable Omani Boama, and how I have consistently asked why the President, John Dramani Mahama, has not officially appointed a full substantive minister for defense for the Ghana Armed Forces and for the entire military.
You think the acting minister has too much on his plate?
Not only has he got too much on his plate, but what has the Minister for Communications, what has the Dafia Mekpo, what do they have to do with the entire military and security architecture when there's a Minister for Interior? And so, #1, we don't have any problem whatsoever with our current system. I am a middle-aged person. Like every time people remind us, it won't be too long, we'll be reaching 60 years old. In a few more years, we'll be there. The reason why you have people aged either under 20 or under 25 going through military training and recruitment is because they have very minimal health risk. They have very minimal exposure to other external influences. They are very healthy. They have either not been addicted to other social vices, either drinking, smoking, or any of those. And if you pick people who are above 30, the risks are high. They either have issues with low blood pressure, high blood pressure, they have some addictions issues, they've interacted too much with society, and on and on and on and on. And the argument is extremely flawed. Extremely flawed because the reason why we have such a robust Ghana Armed Forces The reason why we've been able to keep the borders of this country very safe. The reason why we have been able to kick against continually the threats of terrorism. The reason why we have not had our democracy toppled by a military regime, especially in this Fourth Republic, is because we have a military setup that is credible, that is integral. The reason why we are continually able to send our military on peacekeeping to Lebanon, to other countries, to secure the citizens of those countries are because we have a healthy, robust, integral military system. With the proposals that are coming, it appears as though we want to have people who are either politically aligned, and I don't want to make this a political issue because with all of my understanding and all of my studies in military recruitment and security recruitment, in the war school around the world, you are always stated that it's important that you have a microcosm of people from every background in security services, so that in event that there are chaoses of particular ethnic groups, you will be able to send people who are not particularly from that particular ethnic group into those environments to be able to ensure that there's peace and then there's calm. But clearly, somebody at Jubilee House is not doing his work well. This morning, I chanced upon the Public Account Committee conversation when Minister Muntaka was there. And he made a comment that scared me. But let me immediately commend him because he's been a patriotic minister. He said that he received a CV from the Jubilee House asking for a particular individual to be promoted as the Comptroller General of the Ghana Immigration Service. He immediately drove to the Jubilee House. And in fact, he said he called the comptroller and asked, what does this mean? And he explained to him that this gentleman has 5 more levels to climb before he can even become a Comptroller General. And also he was recruited as a driver. And because he is a member of the NDC, he feels that he has the right to become a Comptroller General. With the greatest of respect, I commend Minister Mutuka, but it clearly tells you the mess we find ourselves in. Somebody at Jubilee House is not doing his work well. I don't know who. But if today, President John Dramani Mahama can be in Beijing, attending a global leaders conference for women, and I have questioned why Ghana has the first female vice president, why the female vice president is not leading such a delegation.
But she's in Belgium.
Oh, my brother. Look,
Is securely occupied.
Look, let's be real. You know, I look at the entire international space. I've looked at the delegation that have come from other countries, and they have high female representation, especially even at the top level. And I'm not saying that it is bad for Mahama to attend the conference, but you see, we need to position ourselves very well. Okay? Now, of course, she's in Belgium. Compare the conversations that have come from the ages of the Beijing conference when it was all about women empowerment. This is the time when Ghana, over all the years of our lives as a country, we have the first female vice president. Can you imagine what it would have been for us if she had led that government delegation? You just think about it. But that's not an issue I want to talk about. But it's a concern. But clearly, we don't find ourselves in a very good place. It clearly tells you that Minister Tuforsin, as the designated minister overseeing Ministry of Defense, is a wrong decision. Which is why Sam George, Minister for Comms, and Dafia Mepo are proposing that we have the age limit upper echelon. Do you know, if you are a skilled person, either a medical doctor, either a lawyer, either an auditor or an accountant, either a professional person, then the age limit is increased. But look, we have a very robust military, and I've looked at the data of other countries that he's put together, even to the extent that he stated that other countries have an age limit of 65. I mean, let's be real with ourselves. We are a beacon of hope, a beacon of peace, because of how robust we've been able to keep our sovereignty. But look, I will drum home again. The president, who is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, it is too late in the day that he has not appointed a substantive minister for defense, sent the person to the appointment committee of parliament for Parliament to vet the person for us to know that we have Minister A as our substantive Minister for Defense. But clearly, it tells you that the center cannot hold.
Very well.
And I am extremely troubled. I would always just wish Minister Muntaka the best, because you can clearly see that he's doing what is patriotically responsible for him to do.
Right.
And so the president must help him and give him a counterpart. And why didn't he even make Muntaka as the one to acting defense minister? But then you have brought in someone who has to be managing the economy and making sure that our city does not depreciate. I think that somebody is not doing his work well in Jubilee House.
Very. Comrade, let me come to you on this. Some say that this proposal would have been fine and Mr. Dafiamepo sought to bring some partisanship to the matter. And I'll read his tweets. It says, this is from his X handle. I have had many calls from our party foot soldiers regarding the army recruitment and maximum age for prospective applicants. They aren't happy. So I decided to look at some countries and their set standards in this matter. Some feel that it would have been a sane argument until this tweet by Dafiamepo would suggest some politicization in the matter, more like job for party foot soldiers.
Thank you, my brother. Good morning, and may I congratulate the senior national team, the Black Stars, for their stellar performance yesterday. For the first time I have been to the stadium to watch the Black Stars.
Oh, you were
play
there?
For the first time in my
Good
life.
stuff, good stuff, good stuff.
And the second time in my life watching a football match. I do not see what is wrong with Honorable Dafiamepo's statement. One, this is a member of parliament on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress, who always, ordinarily, will make some submissions, public, private, wherever, based on feedback he has gotten from his people. And it does not rule out that these people are also known Ghanaians.
Indeed.
The fact that he has got this concern from his party folks does not mean that when eventually the proposal is agreed, those who will be recruited will only be the NDC. In fact, it is not only those from South Dai, where he comes from.
True.
So I do not see what is wrong with this. In fact, let me put on record, and if I am challenged further, the NPP will not like this. Palgrave, during the 8 years tenure of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he willingly and recklessly ruled over leadership of various agencies where people were promoted without any qualifications. People even got jobs without a single certificate. Many brought fake certificates to institutions. Some are being investigated as I speak with you. At the right time, all these things will come out. There were people who had even 10 steps ahead of them. They were just handpicked and promoted, pushed in every place of work today as we speak. So when you say this on national TV, the very people who are watching are so discerning that you should not have the moral fiber to even talk about this. To talk about President Mahama being at a women conference, the vice president is on another equally important mission. And we all know that the president has that compassion for female advocacy. Unlike when President Nana Addo was in Canada. You remember the he for she statement he made me embarrassingly when that lady, young lady embarrassed him. And he lied on national television that he had recruited 5,000 volunteers for the he for she program in Ghana, which was a blatant falsehood by a sitting president on international TV. Please do not go there. President Mahama is not under any pressure to even appoint a substantive minister as we speak. You can speak as a security expert that based on A, B, C, D, you think that maybe the finance minister is too constrained, and that is agreed. But you see, leadership is what President Mahama is showing. There's a substantive deputy minister of that sector, I hope you are aware, who can play a lot of role and be reporting to the caretaker minister, my own comrade Brojajemfi. President Mahama, for the longest time, has even functioned with 56 ministers. In fact, in the success of the 7 months that he was in office or so, he was operating with 56 ministers. And if now he's doing with 58 ministers, it is only to tell you that at a time when you were appointing 125 neonates who could not even handle this economy, it was just an avenue to dissipate the public purse. Now, you see, the concern about this age limit thing, many are rushing into the argument. When you are recruited at the age of 25 or recruited at 30, at what age do you even retire? That should be the concern. Because if the age, I do not know the exact age, I think it's 25, and it also depends the category.
Right.
I mean, if we are talking about general soldiers recruitment, that is different. Now, I think they refer to it as commissioned officers and non-commissioned officers also. Now, if I am being recruited at 25, and they said we should now increase the age to maybe 35. At 35, are people not 35 and still in the military and still strong and firm?
But then they started from somewhere.
They started from somewhere, but you'll be given training. As we speak, National Service is having some collaboration with the military so that young men and women will do so. Many will finish school at the age of 40, 45, 30, 35. If they find themselves to even be in that category, what happens? You see, so I don't see anything wrong, sincerely. I have been in the cadet when I was in school, in the naval cadets when I was in secondary school. And age, there are some people you find to be 25, but somebody at 35 is even more stronger and firmer than you. It doesn't rule out the fact that when you are taken at 25 and I'm taken at 35, the only thing is that you who is taken at 35 have a shorter period to serve compared to that who has been taken at 25.
There are arguments about the rigidity of the training and how age is important in this matter.
Let's face facts. The true military, as we all know, even at 35, at 40, are still having that rigid training.
Because they started young.
No, you see, you can't take out the fact that, what are we trying to talk about? Unless we think that to be in the military, one only needs to be youth and young, or to be maybe 18, 19 to 25. That is when you are so agile and all of that. But we all know that even at 30, at 35, you are. This is not in any way to even be supporting the argument. Whatever the decision is, I am all for it. It is Ghanaians we are talking about. And there are a lot of references to be made to other countries which that is the case. And it is a matter for the country to actually decide, or for the stakeholders who matter and take these decisions to look at. And so it is good these things are coming up. It is only when discussions like this come up, then we can be able to further elaborate to ascertain whether we should go that way or we should go maintain this way. Right. So I think, well, it is a call in the right direction. And maybe for decades, nobody has questioned even why we have had that age limit. Why this is so, why that is so. But now that there are some concerns being raised, we may need to have a look at it. Because I think, is it Switzerland or one of the countries, I'm told, doesn't have an army. They said they don't feel that they are at, anybody is coming to, they have any enemy.
They have no threats.
Yeah, you get it. So it is based on current trends and all of that. A time will come, when it was time for, when the World War, when there was the World War, were they looking at this strict age limits? Almost everybody and anybody
was pushed in.
What is happening in Ukraine and Russia? The people they are recruiting into the military to go and fight, do they all have to be 25? So circumstances will determine what exactly could be the case. Some time back, retirement age was it 55 or so? In some countries, it's 60. In some countries, it's 65. It's based on a lot of factors that will be looked at. So I think that there's absolutely nothing wrong. I don't even see it to be a political comment.
So there's a conversation that needs to be had.
It's just that people think that because the farmer, for instance, referenced what his constituents told him, he's representing the people. And when he says his constituents, he's not only referring to the NDC people, the NPP people there. The NPP didn't get 0 in his constituency during the votes. So I think it's just a call in the right direction. And cannot be politicized at all.
To be fair, that there's room for enlistment of professionals who are above that age, say medical doctors.
I think that's the one they call the commissioned officers also, and they are above, they take the 30s and 35 and all of that. So you see, it is even a blanket statement, but everybody knows that it is referring to the non-commissioned officers, or what many will refer to as the soldiers, who are supposed to be battle ready and trained rigorously for battle. Yes.
Well, Elvis, the Interior Minister in July, when he took a stand at the Government Accountability Series, told us that hundreds of recruits had been, if you like, removed because they didn't meet the requirement. There was an audit into the recruitment process, and he says that they examined academic qualifications, age limits, and medical fitness. Let's tie it into this proposal by the two MPs for the expansion, or if you like, the extension of the age limit. Is it a call? Do you support this call, or are you against it?
The call is coming from the wrong quarters, so I can't support it when it comes from the wrong quarters. We have an armed force that has been in existence for how many years since independence, right? If the armed forces or the security agencies sit down, review their work, and thoroughly come up with a research paper and says they think that for the recruits, an age limit that exists can be reviewed upwards. That is a professional work coming from the technocrats and people who understand why there has to be an age limit for recruits and why the age limit has been placed there and why they think there has to be a change for now. But so long as it's not coming from the technocrats, the professionals, people who understand what the institution is about and what is required, but it's coming from politicians, there's no way I will back that. And as my own MP has said, he's making the call because his constituents says they want to join the army, but the age limit is disqualifying them. I don't think that should be the basis for anybody to call for a review. If not, somebody will be at 70 years and say, I also want to join the army. That has been my long-held dream. And therefore, the age limit should be reviewed to 70, that so he or she can join the army. Because in education, somebody can be 70 years and go to the university and say, all my life, I wanted to have a PhD, and I think this is the right time to do it. But in the military, in the security services, there is reason for everything that they do. They have reason for everything. So the age limit has cogent reasons. And therefore, if the people who are running the system do not see the need to change it, politicians suggesting change simply because their supporters want jobs. The jobs are not there. But the security services seems to be ready for recruitment, and therefore they want to use that avenue. It should never be the reason why anybody should review anything. So for me, we should just throw it out because it lacks any merit. It lacks any merit. We have a Ministry of Interior. We have a Ministry for Defense. Okay? The Ministry of Interior is in charge of immigration, national service, the police, and then the defense is in charge of the Ghana Armed Forces. If the heads of these institutions sit down and write a proposal, there are certain ministers and says, we've done A, B, C, D. We think that for reasons A, B, C, D, the existing age limit can be reviewed up, and they provide their reasons. I believe that it will be an easier thing to do because it's coming from the professionals who are in charge. But where a politician thinks that my people need jobs, there's no job in Ghana. We also promised jobs. That's why they voted for us to come to power. And therefore, we must look at calling for a review of the entry requirement for recruits into the military so that we can get jobs for our people. I don't think it's the reason why anybody should even consider that proposal. So we should be clear. We are building a country. So we should do what is in the interest of the country. We shouldn't do what is in the interest of a few people because they want jobs. We must understand that. So as I said, every country have different age limits for military. Me, myself, sometimes I ask myself, I see Ghanaians who travel abroad, and by the recruit age in Ghana, you know that they are more than that. But then they go abroad and they get recruited into various armies around the world. And I ask myself, how come that if they were in Ghana, they wouldn't have been recruited, but they go to other countries and then they get recruited? In the US, for example, they call something reserves. You are recruited and you are not even in any camp, or you are in your home. They say when there is a need, an emergency, they will call you. So they train you as they recruit you, train you, give you all the training. Anytime they need you for training, they will call you and give you additional training. But you are not actually serving. They call them reserves. But when the American government needs you If there's any emergency, then they can call upon you. And once you are home as a recruit, do your own thing. You are getting paid, though. You are getting paid. But they believe that in their mind, there may be a time that the needs for army may exceed the official and normal army that they see. And they may need the support of citizens. But if the person is not trained and have a certain skills, the person cannot help. So in the US Army, they tell their reserves. And Resford, he was approached, and they have contractors who actually go around recruiting people.
Right.
You don't have to. You will be there, and somebody will be there. So, are you interested in going to the army? If you go to the US, and even you don't have a document, your visa has expired. If you agree to join the army, they will give you all the documents so long as you join. And I know some guys that I went to US and they are all in the Navy and the Army, right? Simply because they decided to join. So every country looks at their needs and then they act upon it. So for me, we should let it rest. If the security heads, institutions, based on empirical evidence, come up and say, we think that it's about time we do some review. These are the exigencies of the time. And we think that if we do a review to this level, it will help. That I'll buy. But this idea of people who are calling from constituencies, it's normal. And see, we should understand that MPs sometimes are under pressure to make those statements because if you don't say it, it means that you have not voiced out their concerns.
Right.
So they will come up and make the statement because they want their constituents to know that what you've told me, I've also told the government, I've told the people of Ghana that this is what people are saying. Then it doesn't look like he didn't act on their concerns. Because if you do that, you are likely to lose your votes. Because if your people say, this is what we want, and they did not hear anything from you, there's trouble. That's why bank benches in parliament always suffer. Because they say, but we don't hear you in parliament talking about our needs. You're always sitting there. We see some few other MPs always advocating for their people. We will vote you out. You understand it? And it's true. They are our representatives. They are representing us. So if we have concerns, it's their business to put it in the public. So they've done their job by putting out that this is what our constituents are asking for. I think it is left for the Interior Ministry, the Defense Ministry, security heads in charge of these institutions to look into it and ask themselves, is it time for Ghana to review the recruitment age for recruits? If it is time, if there are valid reasons, we can go with it. But if there are no valid reasons, we think that, this is purely a political thing and that the people think they voted for their MP and therefore they are looking for a jobs. Their MP knows that there's no job. And the only way the MP feels that there can be some job is if the age limit is raised. He can get some few people from the constituency and push them to these services for which reason is making the call. So the MP has done his job. But we shouldn't take it serious until the people in charge of security services come up with empirical evidence to say that if we review the age at this point, it's good. We say we are expanding our army and the rest. I've spoken to some people who say, look, it's like almost all peacekeeping operations are coming to an end around the world.
True.
So now a lot of Ghanaian soldiers who regularly go on peacekeeping, now there's no opportunity to go to peacekeeping.
The UN is reducing forces in Sudan and Lebanon.
Several, in fact, as for Lebanon, I think they're actually closing. And so many other places where we have a lot of our people go regularly. Now, there seems to be some peace in some of those regions. So even if you recruit more, the question is, the UN peacekeeping, which is one of the avenues that we are using to get these people, it's like we are no longer having a lot of opportunities there. So we should be mindful making these calls because see, all these people we want to be recruited, if the age limit is even lifted today, it brings a burden to the public purse.
True.
And the public purse, we know the situation. And therefore, we don't need to say that because people want it, we want to increase the public purse. It will come and hurt all of us because the money that will be there to do roads in the same person's constituency or provide water for that constituency or something may now have to be used to pay salaries because we have increased the numbers.
And already the public wage bill
is already struggling.
Very well. Very well, obvious. Prince from Elembele says, height shouldn't determine one's ability to serve and protect. Let's focus on skills, training, and dedication rather than hits kill in schools in America. And he says, good morning to you, Elvis. If there's no ulterior motive, why should we consider raising the recruitment age for the Army to 35? Is it because we don't receive enough applications at the current age? What's striking about this proposal is that it didn't come from the military professionals, but rather from an MP's constituents. It's time for us to take a serious approach to governance in this country. Amino from Nsawam. Good morning to you guys. The NPP man is not in Ghana at the moment. They will continue to stay in opposition for a very long time. We are calling for the age limit to be 30 and not 25. Ken from Paga. Well, Ken, your MPs are saying that they want it raised to 35. Good morning. The problem is that by the time you are even done with university, you are above 24 years. And I can say with all authority that a lot of the officers have been recruited, who have been recruited are above 25 years. Please tell Mr. Elvis Darko that in the army recruitment process, nothing has been done fairly. I have a lot of officers, friends, who got recruited as officers when they were 32 years. UK, USA, and other developed countries we borrow from do not even do this.
The person understand that recruitment for the officer
has
a different age limit.
True.
Recruits have different age limits.
limits.
Professionals like nurses and doctors, they have different age limits. So it is not one age for all. So if you see somebody complete university and becomes an officer, it's not a recruit. The person is not as a recruit. So the age limit is different. If you see a nurse or somebody completing medical school is 30 years and works at 37 and is a soldier, it's not the same as recruit. So people should know that the age limits for different categories differ. True. I also used to have the argument about the height. But when you talk to the officer, they said they are not saying intelligence doesn't matter. After recruitment, they look for the people who have the capacity to do it. That's why they have military intelligence. Yeah. People don't know that the military actually didn't have a unit purposely for intelligence because they don't talk much about it.
True.
So nobody says that in the army it's all about buga buga. There's a whole unit for intelligence. So if you're academically brilliant and they feel that you can be useful, they will recruit you because they have seen a certain trait that is going to help. So I think that maybe the military doesn't talk much, so they don't explain a lot of these things to the public. So most people are under the guise that there's only one age limit. And truth is that because the officers are not many, most of us have only recruits in our family. So we are only knowledgeable about one age of recruitment. We don't even know that there are different ages for recruitment in the army. So maybe it's time for the Ghana Armed Forces to actually come out and do also a lot of education about why height matters, why age matters. Wow. I think this offers that opportunity for them to do that education.
Right. It's interesting that this conversation is coming at a time that the army is actually rolling out its recruitment. The conversation could have ended here, but Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekwa says he's actually going to seek legal redress on this matter.
We are in trouble in this country.
Are we?
Yes, we are in trouble. You see, something is not right for me that we want to politicize this issue. Because I'm looking at the interest of Ghana beyond politics. I grew up in the barracks. I lived at Juba Villas number 48.
Oh, okay.
Okay? I am very familiar with the barracks work. Either from other rank, from how you start as a no rank and then you come to lance corporal, sergeant, all of those before you get to warrant officer. Then you come to the officer. First lieutenant, second lieutenant, captain, major, lieutenant colonel, brigadier general, general, major general, and lieutenant general, and all of that. Look, of course, you can have someone who is 65 years old who is a general. But it's because the person started young. I have people, friends, who immediately after finishing presec or finishing high school went straight into the military, either for officer training or recruit training. Today, they are in their 40s and they are colonels or lieutenant colonels. Every promotion that happens in the Ghana Armed Forces is through training and examination, and it's on merit basis. Now, there is nobody in this country who either finishes university at 45 and can be allowed to join the security services. There's nobody in this country who is above 40 years old that is mandated to do national service. In fact, the law says that above 40 years old, you can request for national service to give you a certificate. Yes, because you're exempted. You understand? So I am deeply troubled that President John Dramani Mahama is wanting to fulfill a particular campaign promise that he gave.
Which is what?
Which is the fact that when he was campaigning to become president of the Republic of Ghana, he said, and the evidence is there, that when he wins, he will recruit children of his political party to come into the security service.
He said this when?
Oh, I have the data here. I can send it to your producer for them to play it for you to see. I have it here. I can increase the volume. I think he said it. Yeah, it's here. Tamale Stadium. It's here. The evidence is here. You understand? Tamale, he said this. So you see, you know, Nana, as for me, first, my responsibility is to be a Ghanaian. Before I have a responsibility for my political party. When it comes to matters of security, we cannot politicize it. That is why this morning, I recognize the good work of Minister Muntaka.
Right.
That he got extremely troubled that from the Jubilee House, this issue had come to him. And he recognizes that you cannot be employed as a driver, rise through the ranks, and there are 5 more ranks before you become a comptroller general. And you say that because you're a member of a political party, we should make you a comptroller general above all the other people. So we really, really, really need to handle this issue very well.
True.
We cannot live in a country where, of course, like I stated, if you are a citizen of Ghana, you have every right to join any of the security forces. In fact, it is right for us to have a representative of every ethnic group in our security services. It's extremely right. Equity-wise, it is right. It is wrong to have more ethnic group, a particular ethnic group more in a security service. It's a threat. Yes, it's a threat. And so when you go to any security training around the world, and let me say this, majority of the people who live this country and are either enrolled in the military in America or the UK military or Afghanistan military and all of those, look, they have reduced their ages. It is the truth. If you like, let the US come and check their background. They have reduced their ages. So let's not put it as though we have a weak military system that if you cannot get enrollment into it and you go to America, you can get recruitment. No. Those people, we live in this country, people have football ages. They have 2 ages.
So this one is military age.
Oh, there are people who have reduced their ages to travel from Ghana to America. And of course, you remember many years ago, before we had all this biometric and all of those other issues, you and I, people could not find our differences. I can take your passport to travel. It was happening around the world. The black people were similar. Myself and Elvis, I could use his passport. And people were traveling like that. So for me, you see, we sit on an eggshell
Right.
in this country. We sit on an eggshell with countries that are surrounded by us who are either military country or country under threats of terrorism. Ghana has been that haven. We cannot do this to our country. And you know, I have a big proposal for Parliament. I've been thinking and I've been asking a lot of conversations. And I think that we need to reconstruct the parliament that we have in terms of membership. We cannot continue to have a parliament of NPP and DC. We cannot. I think that
What
we
do you
need
propose?
to, I propose a parliament, a buffet parliament where we have good representation of everybody. And I'll state it. We need to have the representative of the students, which is headed by the National Union of Ghana Students. We need that leader to be in parliament. We need to have someone from the labor union to be in parliament. We need to have someone from the nurses and midwifery council to be in parliament. We need to have somebody from the Ghana Medical Service to be in parliament. We need to have somebody from the chiefs. We need a chieftaincy representative in parliament. Okay? We also need to ensure that we need to break this thing. It's not helping us.
The MPP and DC Parliament.
It's not helping us. We need to break it so that we have a collective voice of the Ghanaian people.
Very well.
Yes, of course. You stand as an MP, you win on the ticket of a political party. Of course, your constituency is not just made up of your political party, but your constituency is made up of a microcosm of every single citizen of this country, who are either laborers, who are either in the army, who are either in service, who are either doctors, who are either teachers, or and on. So I think that the new Ghana that we need to see under the leadership of the Honorable Kennedy Japan as the next president of the Republic
We
of
just
Ghana.
had to go there.
Of course, I think. Of course.
You just had to go there.
Of course, it's important. But in my thinking, these are some of the proposals that,
Very well.
as I have an opportunity, I'll be proposing. Because you see, we need to break away from this. Look, Nana, it's not helping us. It's like we are always running in circles. And
Pero,
I'm wondering why we keep doing this to ourselves.
Bro, let me hear Comrade on this matter.
Comrade, help us. Don't let this be a party issue. You see, because I
I
know you very well. I know how passionate you are about Ghana.
There was a term, a word we used to use when we were in GHS. I am very flabbergasted by the submission he's been made. It is lost on Palgrave that the framers of the Constitution took all these concerns into consideration. And that is why you are not barred from contesting to be MP if you are a laborer, if you are a teacher, if you are a journalist, or whatever. And so what he is talking of already has representation in Parliament. The only thing is that it has political coloration.
What of the chiefs?
The chiefs are equally represented, traditional authorities.
Where are they?
And no, so what is stopping you? I mean, if you're saying this, then we must have representation for camera crew. We must have representation for the media. I mean, how is this going to, come on. You're rather proposing chaos. Well, but
I think they all have their bodies or associations or organizations to do the advocacies on their behalf.
That is why it is called the legislature.
Yeah.
And the legislature is not the only arm of government where you find yourself. There is the executive and there is the judiciary. Many now believe that there is the fourth, which is you in the media. And so, but anyways, let me say here, it is still very unclear how Palgrave wants to continually make reference to Jubilee House. Let's assume, without admitting, that even what Honorable Muntaka said is right. That is to tell you that under the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, a call cannot come from anywhere to just instruct anybody to do A, B, C, and the Okoto.
Order from
but
above.
what was the case in your time?
Order from above.
Order from above. And that is why I'm telling you, under President Akufo-Addo, and under this tenure, Kennedy Japan was also a member of parliament and in this country. People were promoted left, right, center without merit. People who didn't have anything to do with... Look, were we not in this country? So let us stop these. I think you should rather commend the government that it means that governance is as a serious business is going in the right direction, where there cannot be interference, where there cannot be invisible hands manipulating people to do what is wrong. Because if that was the case, and if your tenure was the yardstick, by now, President Mahama wouldn't have been chalking the successes he has chalked. He wouldn't have been earning the respect he's earning. And this country, as we speak today, when it was predicted that by end of year, Ghana's our inflation would have been around 13.5%, it has rather even gone to single digit as we speak. That's discipline. See, I think these are matters we should not be just easily
Very well.
politicizing. And I still maintain, I don't see the politicization in this matter. I mean, the person making this submission is a politician anyways. And so whether he even made reference to his constituent or not, he is speaking as a politician who also means well for Ghana. He is not saying that let us recruit only NDC people, or the people who will be recruited will be outside of Ghana. It is Ghanaians we are still talking about.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good conversation that is opened up. And I agree with Elvis as well too. The couples within that enclave could also bring it up. But is this something they are also willing to? Just like you said, some are also now raising concern about height. Some are also raising concern about health. Some too are told that because the person has not gotten a certain pass mark. Meanwhile, that alone cannot be enough basis. And just as we all know, even examinations, it's not enough basis to actually disqualify someone. So when you and I go and sit for an exam, BECE, and you don't make your grades, it doesn't mean that you are not good. But for now, the measuring rod tells you must get this grade and you haven't gotten it. Does that mean we should throw you away? No.
Very well.
Nana, we were in this country when we're in this country when the President John Dramani Mahama cleared the majority of the experienced people in the Ghana Armed Forces. You recall that? Senior people, well-experienced, non-politically aligned people. They were cleared. And so this issue is troubling. We sit on an eggshell. We beg the president, we beg you, help save the sovereignty of this country. let's not turn our military into a jungle of pilolo where we have people who are ill-experienced, who are old, who have health issues, who cannot help us in this country.
Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, good morning, my brother. I totally agree with my brother this morning. He has really made my day. He should continue like that. But I am particularly happy to see that the recruitment is going to be based on regional basis, and those from certain particular regions must be recruited. This goes to show fairness. Nana, take a look at Elvis' shirt this morning. Tell him to get me one. Thanks. Emmanuel Awule from the United States of Kiseiman says, good morning. There's even a unit of intelligence in which a lot of people don't know. Boache Dankwa should give us a break. He's rather sounding political, as if NDC is recruiting only their supporters into the army. They should continue to be in opposition for many years. This one says, our security services are filled with whom you know. We all know what's going on. When you qualify, you won't get it. Nana, please extend my greetings to my brother Eli Kem for me. He's doing a great job for the party and the youth. He should keep it up. I wish him well. Rex from Ashoman, does Dr. Palgrave listen to himself? He said he didn't want to go political with the issue, yet he started on a partisan wavelength by chastising the president. Was the president in the head of the Honorable Chief Whip? He also took the opportunity to advertise his preferred NPP aspirant. If this is not politics, what is it? For me, the age as defined in the enlistment advert is the right one. I don't support an increase in the age limit. Well, Doc, you mentioned the labor unions, and the TUC, as part of its advocacy, embarked on a fact-finding mission to Kwanyako in the central region somewhere last week. Kwanyako and I think the Brim River. And based on what they saw, on what they found out, they are demanding the declaration of a state of emergency against illegal mining. Quick thoughts.
President Mahama is in China.
He's in Beijing.
The vice president is in Belgium.
Right.
The speaker is acting. Without being sworn in. What a country, what a country, what a country.
The Chief Justice is acting.
What a country.
No, the
what
speaker.
a country.
No, I'm saying the speaker hasn't been sworn in. It's an acting CJ, not a substantial
What a
CJ.
country, what a country. You know,
But it tells that
We-
we feel very safe in this country. We don't
True.
think that anybody can come and just say
we,
overpower
we,
like that.
we need to help ourselves, okay? When I wake up in the morning and I pray to my Father in heaven, I ask him to guide me on a day-to-day basis so I can be a patriotic citizen. What the labor union has done is the step in the right direction. You see, when we ask that you do something as a government, it's a government of the people and by the people. It is the Ghanaian people that have given you that responsibility to represent us. Of course, all 35 million people cannot be at Jubilee House. Of course, all 35 million people cannot be in Parliament, which is why we have a select few who we believe that when you are there, you'll be able to champion our ideals, our values, and our principles. It is gradually getting out of hand. Gradually getting out of hand. We cannot give the leadership of government too much time. They don't have it. Okay, they don't have it. If the labor union is asking President John Dramani Mahama to call for a state of emergency, something that he said he's waiting for the national security to advise him. And I have been on your platform and I've given the 8 thematic areas of national security's role. One of them is intelligence gathering.
True.
One of them is threat assessment. And I do not think that the national security is not aware of the threats that Galamsey poses to us. And I do not think that the national security has not gathered enough intelligence about the threats that Galamsey poses to us. And I also do not think that the national security has not gathered the ecological and economic standing of these illegal miners. As I speak to you this morning at 8:20, the people are in the pit. Those who finished their first round, they closed at 5 a.m. The people beginning the first round are starting at 6. They are there. As I speak to you, they are digging. They will come out at 11 o'clock for break. The afternoon shift will go from 11:30 to 5. Then the evening shift will go from 5:30 p.m. to midnight. and then they are working around the clock. So we are almost having a 24-hour illegal mining ongoing in Ghana. Is that what the president promised us? He told us he's going to give us a 24-hour economy. Is it a 24-hour economy of Galansayers? I don't want to think so. We love the president. We respect the president. We want him to do well. And we have said, the president, John Dramani Mahama, does not need to fail for NPP to win an election. When the president, John Dramani Mahama, does well, he does well for the collective of the Ghanaian people. I'm in Ghana. I live here. I pay my bills here in this country. I pay my taxes here in this country. And so we plead with the president. His decision to ask the national security to advise him. National security. We know you people. You gather intelligence. You do situational reports. You have your analysis. We know that you are aware that this is a threat. The entire security architecture, we know that you are aware this is a threat. Please, before the president comes from Beijing, after attending the Global Leaders Women Conference, and the vice president returns from Belgium, please, you need to tell the president that his reluctance to call for the state of emergency is long overdue. The honeymoon that the president wanted after 9 months, 10 months, the honeymoon should be over.
Would a state of emergency be an end in itself?
It would be a starting point. And I have stated, of course, people would want to do comparison. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo banned small-scale mining, whatever, all of it, for 18 months. That was political leadership. The president must show us political leadership, okay? Because the rate at which it's going, you know, Nana, let's be real with ourselves. It will get to a stage you can't give me this water to drink in urban Ghana. You would need to boil the water several times and tell me that you are digging a borehole. Do you have a borehole on this premises?
Yeah, we do.
You do have a borehole. Then I'm likely to be drinking from your borehole that is purified. And so please, I want to plead. Because if you look at it, labor union, let the doctors also talk. We have a Ghana medical. Let them also tell us what is happening. Because we have stated over and over again, the reason why Ghana is called Gold Coast, or was called Gold Coast, is because there are pockets of gold everywhere. So it's a land of gold, but we must be responsible. And we can only plead with the political leadership. They must not turn a blind eye to us. The president cannot say he's reluctant. He cannot say he's unwilling. He cannot say he's nonchalant. And he cannot say that emergency calling is the last resort. Where we are now, it is the first, and he must call it.
Comrade, the TEC says there's a looming water crisis, which of course we didn't actually need them to tell us. The evidence is there for all to see. We've seen the level of distraction. But this call for a state of emergency, is that the final hammer on the head of the nail?
I am so glad that, first and foremost, there's nobody around this table who benefits or in any way rejoices over the mess we find ourselves in when it comes to our water bodies. But it again tells you of the mess that happened in over a decade ago. And so when I see the likes of Palgrave suddenly finding his voice to be so passionate about these, I only can tell that the person viewing can see what the definition of hypocrisy is. How well was your voice at the time you were looking on for the likes of Wuntumi? Did we not watch the expose by Anas? Did we not watch that of the gold mafia? Did we not watch Frimpong Boaten's report and all of that? And so if you want to address this matter and think that it is only the issuance or the declaration of a state of emergency, then in the first place, you have taken the wrong step. What exactly is the declaration of the state of emergency? It is to allow you, give you the powers to do some things that ordinarily you wouldn't have done.
True.
The president has said it many times. I do not feel incapacitated where I am presently. Whatever there is that I can do, I am doing so. The president is not treating this matter with velvet gloves. There's a concern that water bodies have been so polluted. Turbidity has risen to the highest 94,000 NTU. True. Or 98,000 NTU at some instances. Heavy metals have been found in this as well, and it is finding its way into our food, our fruits, and all of that. But when you declare a state of emergency, then what? Is that in itself a solution to the problem? No. It is the relative or the measures that you are taking or you will take to confront the challenge. That will be the resolve to the problem. And it begs me, therefore, to outline further what the circumstance was in the past. Allow me some 5 minutes. In the past, let me remind Palgrave, when in 18 months you claim to have banned the issuance of license and fighting the galamsey, that was when Ghana recorded its highest gold export. Hypocrisy personified by a regime. That is the irony of what you were fighting at the time. You had banned it, you said you were stopping it, but we had recorded the highest export of gold. When even there was a news report that Akonta Mining, Chairman Wontumi, was engaged in an illegality, the sector minister came to corroborate, same, Abu Jinapo. But the president immediately at an opportune time said Akonta, how do you call him? Wontumi is not doing galamsey. You are shielding these people. And it is with so much shame, if you do not have any, to talk about this matter in this manner. Only to say that nobody is ruling out. The TUC, Ghanaians have the reason and concern to raise and even to ask for a state of emergency to be declared. But what is the state of the emergency declaration in itself? The reasons why they were called for these at the time were a lot of factors that happened. They were issuing licenses like confetti. As we speak, the Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Yusuf Sulemana, chairs a committee that is reviewing over 1,278 of such licenses. 55 were struck out immediately. They were revoked. Only 316 were found to be clean so far, and another 907 are at a risk of revocation. These were all licenses you issued out to people. These were even the ones you issued out. How about the ones who were doing their things on the back on the blind side of all of us? 9 forest zones were declared red zones because there were no-go areas. The gangs had taken over. And this is because during your tenure, you passed a very ludicrous LI that allowed people to go into the forest reserves to mine. You issued over 30 of such licenses to people to go into our forests. By reason of that, 44 of our forest reserves were breached. When President Mahama took over, all these 9 forests were repossessed. Then now, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, who also doubles as Sector Minister for Environment, Science and Technology, has written to the Attorney General to consider the revocation, the repeal of LI 2462. The Attorney General made us know that that is priority of priorities now at the next sitting of Parliament. That is document to be submitted. The Minister has further declared water bodies and forest reserves security zones. And that is a component, these are all components of what state of emergency would require. But the President is telling you that declaring a state of emergency is like saying that I want some powers, but I'm not getting it. The Constitution doesn't give me. So please grant me state of emergency so I can do so. No such things. He is not trigger ready to do those things. But he believes strongly that with the measures being put in place, that will be done. I must applaud all the discerning voices for the very concerns they are raising. Because look, the water we are all drinking, it doesn't matter your political coloration, it doesn't matter your profession, your age, your tribe, etc. We are all at risk. But that is the reason why I must commend also the effort by Colonel Dominic Boa, who leads the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, for the brute force with which they are dealing with people who find themselves especially on water bodies. So it is very clear. Stay off our water bodies and stay off the forest reserves. And that is being implemented. It is the reason why the NIMOS is deploying men to these places permanently and on rotational basis to avoid familiarity.
True. Comrade, thank you. Let me take a break here. When I come back, I read some of your messages and then we'll hear from Elvis. This is Breakfast Daily. Stay with us. Daily on ChannelOne TV, we're having the news review segment. Elikem Kotoko is here. Elvis Darko is here. Dr. Palgrave Dankwa is also here. And, of course, you are viewing public. A few messages here. This is some information on the recruitment issue. This one says, for the Ghana Armed Forces, the age limits are 18 to 25 for non-tradesmen and 18 to 27 for tradesmen for non-commissioned roles. Now, for commissioned officer roles, the age limit is 18 to 26 for regular commissioned officers and up to 30 to 35 for short service or specialist roles. So this is the enlistment requirement. Okay. This man says ChannelOne TV, your reward is in heaven. The government seem not to have the antidote to fight galamsey. A state of emergency must be declared, period. This is what Ghanaians are asking for. Okay, this one says the Muslims Alliance for Accountable Governance, MAFAG, will address the media on galamsey next week. It is going to be big and from a different angle that will shake Ghanaians. Alhaji Swala from La Paz is sending that one in. Elvis, your thoughts on it? We've spoken about this galamsey issue. We've actually dealt with this matter of a state of emergency. And so it's not new that the TUC is making this call. But like I'm asking everyone, it's not the end, is it? There are other options for
a
us to look
state of emergency in itself is a paper and a signature. The question is, after the president signed the paper and signature, are we sure that we are going to do the work that the state of emergency requires? Another issue. So I said this state of emergency thing, from all points of view, if only it will lead to stoppage of the thing or reduction, that is what we are all looking for. But if we declare a state of emergency and enforcement did not succeed because the same process and procedures have been used and we did not get anything, the question is what next? So I think the TUC is right to do whatever they have done. My only advice to them is that I think this time around they are getting it right because they went to the field. For last year, they didn't go to any field to show us anything. All of a sudden, they said they want to go on protest. So the question was, then why is that last year they didn't go on the field? But this year they decide to go on the field before asking for something. Probably they will say, well, they have their own reasons. But I think that as union, the most powerful union in Ghana is TUC. And therefore I think that they should do things in ways and manner that people will not criticize them. Well, sometimes is it because there was an election, that's why they didn't go to the field and all of a sudden they decided to say they will demonstrate? It gives room for people to ask you questions. Because I believe that last year they had already gone on the field, got their own evidence and come back and say some of these things. People will view it differently. And for me, I don't even mind whether they went on the field or not. We have all agreed that the galamsey is a threat to all of us. I think over the weekend I read a report that says that it's only Greater Accra and Volta that are untouched. So it means that out of the 16 regions we have created, 14 are affected by galamsey or one way or the other. It's only Volta and Greater Accra where water and those things are yet to be. So clearly, it should tell you that what we are talking about is even beyond a state of emergency. It's even beyond it. Okay, it's even beyond it. And therefore we must understand that when groups are calling for state of emergency, it's because of the threat it poses to all of us. And as I've said, when President Akufo-Addo declared that 18 months there will be no mining, every Ghanaian saw that the water bodies were becoming cleaner. It's also true that we had an increase in small gold exports that year. But it doesn't necessarily mean that because the mining was going on. Most of the time when they mined, they look for the right time for the price increase for them to sell. If you are not working, you have gold there and you are hungry, you will sell it, right? But the truth of the matter, during that 18 months, every Ghanaian that is close to water bodies saw that there is some improvement in the water bodies. But when it was lifted, we have gone to levels that we can't even imagine. And that shows that even that 18 months lifting has become zero because the expected result has become worse after it was lifted. And as I said, there are people who have done mining for years and decades who believe that the state of emergency is not a solution, and that the most important thing is to have the courage and say you have illegalized every form of small-scale mining and then elevate it to medium-scale mining. When you do that, it means that every process that mine Aglung gold fields and the rest have to go through before they mine, a medium-scale mine has to go through that. A licensed small-scale miner does not go through the same processes to mine. So in fact, most of the people we call licensed small-scale mining, the way they do their work is not different from how the illegals do their work. So you see, it's not about the paper license, whether it is legal or not.
Right.
It's about the processes that we go through to get the job done. So as I said, if we can be converging around some of these issues, and if all these aspects, as I said, can be put together, look, everybody bring your proposal, let's fix it. As I've said, if for 60 years we have been deploying police soldiers, go and fight and come back, and we're not getting results, it's, to me, the results will still not give us if we continue that way. Let's look at something, and that's why I want TUC, for instance, to become a big player in the conversation. They represent all workers of Ghana, okay, including those small-scale miners. So if the TUC can actually do a better job by saying, okay, as an organization, we want to finance an independent study to the communities. Let people go there and come up with a proper report. Let them come and tell us that this is what the people are saying, that is why they are doing Galamsey. And this is what they are saying, that if we do, we can minimize the distraction. FDA has issued a report. EPA has a report. UNICEF has a report. So many organizations have a report. TUC can lead the coordination of all those organizations and say, look, can we have all your reports? We want a team to review. I think that they will be doing themselves a lot of good if they decide to be very active. Not only by calling, but do something and then present some very empirical report to government and said, with the experts we put together, with all the reports we have been able to get from various institutions reviewed and the rest, this is the recommendation of labor from this point of view. Very empirical study that will be able to make a strong point. Probably maybe at that, and it's possible they may realize that even state of emergency may not be the solution. True. Because now they have put together, because even all the mining, the big mining companies, they are under labor, right? And they have a lot of positions and ideas and suggestions they think can help some of these things. You understand it? The Chamber of Mine had always made that even a complete ban on small-scale mining, they don't think that it will solve the problem. They've made certain positions. But so for now, we are not even hearing those kind of conversations anymore. So I think that with this good step that TUC has taken to go to the field, to see things for themselves, I think they need to expand it. What they have gone to see, now they should look at maybe a 3 or 4 months, 5 months work of experts put together by TUC, bring all kinds of institutions into it, bring all kinds of reports for review. And then the labor union will come up and say, we have an empirical evidence that this is the situation. Okay. This is what is fueling it. This is what our experts are saying that the state must do for us to minimize and limit this distraction. I believe that they have that report. All of us in the media will jump behind it. We'll push it. Okay, so this Galamsey thing, I remember when President Akufo-Addo declared the ban, the media coalition was formed at that time. President Mahama had the opportunity to complain that when he was president for first time, he was trying to fight Galamsey. He didn't get the kind of support the media was giving to President Akufo-Addo. Right. The media has given the support, but the thing has gotten worse. Worse. So it means that even the media support we have given has not yielded much result. So I will appeal to TUC this morning that I think that I'll commend them for what they have done by going out on the field. They should put together a team, have a term of reference, let them go to the community, starting first by doing research, talking to the people, the communities. That point, the community who are not doing Galamsey, okay? Talk to a varied group of people within the community. Let the researchers talk to the chiefs. Let them talk to the people who have the license, who don't have the license. How to deal with this? Let them do a thorough report. Let them review FDA, EPA, and all the other institutions their report. Let them even find out from national security themselves. I believe national has several reports on Galamsey. TUC, the body as it is, if it requests anything from any of these institutions, you'll get it. They should do a thorough work for us, and then when they are giving us empirical evidence, we will realize that, okay, it's like what they are saying makes some good reason that we should all follow. But it's like the calls are coming disjointed, and everybody has his own way of what they think has to be done. Some say state of some general, some say declare it only in the mining areas. There are suggestions that confiscate the lands that Galamsey is happening on, so that the chiefs will know that when they allow people to do the Galamsey, their lands will be confiscated. There are all kinds of, but who is putting all this together to come up with a comprehensive report that will say that with all this that we have put together, we think that if we do A, B, C, D, we can move forward. So for me, I think that even the things who does the work, they can even point out flaws in the deployment of security. They can even do it from an independent point of view rather than making security people to review that themselves. And they can rely on independent security people to help them. So I think that where it is going, we are all looking for solutions.
True.
And so I'm commending to you, but I'm suggesting that they can do more. And I hope they consider something like that.
Very well. Let's get into NPP politics. To become flag bearer, Pargrave, you need 4.6 million Ghana cedis. 4.6 million Ghana cedis. Pargrave, why? Professor Oquaye is not happy with you people.
We are all not happy.
But what is, no, first of all, explain to what is this development fee?
I don't know.
But you've paid.
Yes, because that is what the leadership of the party has decided to do.
Wow.
When we were young and we were told of the New Patriotic Party, we have always known that it's a party of values, a party of volunteerism, a party where people give off their best and what they have. Of course, modern politics has changed. And it's changed in a way that if you are doing an internal contest, you will need to rally around the length and breadth of the country, speaking to over 250,000 delegates. And planning such an election obviously comes at a cost. The party has not got that necessary resources that they need. You recall that my candidate, Kennedy Japan, this year paid some of the outstanding salaries of the party in the first quarter of the year, and also contributed significantly to the delegate conference, about 4 million Ghana cedis, and now has paid for his development fee. When I went for MP parliamentary candidate primaries, I paid for a development fee. But my assumption is that the party will use such monies to do the internal wranglings and processes and everything. Professor Michael Oquaye is a senior member of the party. Maybe he could have made the input a bit much earlier. Now we have gone for vetting, we have balloted, we have picked number one, and we are confident that with the level of conversations that we are having with the delegates, talking to them about jobs, sustainable job creation for the Ghanaian people is what will bring us to our desired future. Talking about industry and linking industry to agriculture, because industry and agriculture must work in hand. Talking about empowering the local government principles that we need in this country, because governance is well at the base when it is done well and implemented well.
Right.
So of course, from where we are, with the regions that we have visited, from Western region to Western North to Bono region to Bono East to Ahafo, tomorrow we are in Savannah. From Savannah, we'll do Upper East, we'll do Upper West, we'll do Northeast, we'll do Northern region. And we are coming down to the middle belt.
Very well.
So, of course, yes, we need to contribute to the party's resource base, but we also need to have a broader conversation, really, because it does exclude other people. You are aware that Honorable Adainimo couldn't participate in this election. I have indication that he is greeting us every now and then. And we are also greeting him every now and then.
Very well, very well. Elvis, this development fee, I'm not sure when it came or where it came from, but from what you said, does it portend a danger? It looks like there's monocracy in the system, and this will likely affect competent people who may not necessarily have the resources to participate in such party elections.
Oh, it has always been there. This development fee, as I said, even MPs are made to pay. In fact, sometimes you are even disqualified for not paying development fee. So it's not a new thing. The phenomenon is simple. Political party organization is a lot of money.
True.
Okay, it's a lot of money. But the parties, especially in our part of the world, have not been able to establish any credible way of fundraising for their political parties. And that is the problem. So when they are in government, because appointees in office, they will find money and support the party. When they are opposition, you hear them crying about money to run because now they are not in government and appointees don't have the money to give. And that is why political parties need to think wider and find out, is this sustainable? Is it not making the party a sellout to some few people who have money? Some will argue that it's a way of ensuring that not everybody can jump up and say, I want to be, because if there is no money to be paid, you may get 1,000 people who say, I want to be flag bearer. But the money that they're asking for is actually a way of ensuring that only few people can come up for it and show credit. I rather think that instead of asking for the money, if the party can say, if you want to contest, okay, provide a list of 100 people who are willing that when the party is going to an election, they will rather support the party with this amount as financiers.
Right.
I think that will take the burden off the shoulders of the person.
Yeah.
But you are letting the person establish how he's able to build relationships, how he's able to attract funding and sponsorship. So if the person can have names of people and say, this is the list of 100 people, they are willing to back the NPP if I get elected as flag bearer. And they can use that as a basis. I think it's good. We are living in a country where we are always complaining. There's vast lands that we are not using. Personally, I would have thought that by now the NPP may have 100,000 acres of cocoa farm. NDC may have seed, so that the proceeds from those farms, whatever profit after paying laborers and the rest who keep the farm working, becomes funds for the party.
Right.
Maybe NDC may have 50,000 palm oil plantation. NDC may have
Are
some.
political parties allowed to engage in profitable enterprises?
What stops them from that?
Okay, very well.
There's nothing that stops them from doing things that will help them raise. So I was thinking that if they had talked about this for a long time, probably they may have some very big agricultural institutions, from the farming even to processing and others, that have become like party business, that after paying the workers, any profit made becomes revenue for the party to use. I think that they have not been able to establish membership and dues.
Okay.
With Ghana card and database now, I think that it's about time the parties also utilize that and says, if you want to be a member of the party and a proud one and hold a card, the whole year everybody should pay 50 Ghana cedis or 100 cedis.
Because they boast about 4 million supporters and all that.
So if you can pay 100 cedis, maybe the party will give you a party t-shirt so that you can identify yourself.
True.
You understand it? So I think that they need to think about innovative ways of raising funds to support the activities. But this, waiting till somebody wants to contest, and you know that the person itself is campaigning and spending so much money on its campaign, whether MP or it's a lot of money. And they're asking the person to also pay some huge money again to the party. I think that they can do better. But for now, it's like, because they have not been able to establish alternative ways of raising funds, credible ones that support them financially, they have done something. But if you go to Rwanda, the party that is of government, they have so many businesses.
Okay.
South Africa, the ANC, they own businesses that generate revenue for them. So it is not that we even have to go beyond the continent of Africa. Okay.
Very well.
South Africa, ANC own mining companies. Okay. They own mining companies. So I think that we can learn from these countries. Some of this, NDC and NPP need to do a thorough work of study. And it will help them.
Let me hear from Elikem on this. To be flag bearer, you need 100,000 to pick forms, 500,000 to file, and 4 million cedis development fee. Is this feasible? Is this sustainable?
What are they developing? What is
I'm not in a position to answer that.
That's my worry and concern. I'm perplexed because So you pay 100,000 for
Forms,
forms?
500,000 to file,
File.
and then 4 million CDs. 4 million
So
Ghana
that's
CDs.
4.6
million
in total, close to 5 million.
Yeah.
And previously, how much was it? And suddenly ballooned to that figure.
And this is aside what you are spending as an individual to canvass votes around the country.
This is ridiculous, but it looks like none of them is complaining. And they all, I heard that Kwabena Japan couldn't, and he risked being disqualified, but suddenly he has found his image there, which means he was able to raise the funds. And this has been one of my major problems. It reminds me of my days as a student leader. When I was going to contest for the first position in school, and people said you need to have a minimum of 1,500 at a time. But I didn't spend even a dime. I had people who felt that, Elikan, we've been seeing what you do, and that's how it's supposed to be, but that is not the situation. And it is very scary. And so the question is, I don't even know the legality of that. I mean, and you people have the so-called elite or legal luminaries within, and nobody is contesting that. But it's good that the person raising the concern is also a lawyer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Professor Michael Oquaye is a lawyer, right? Or he's just a legislator?
Yeah, he is.
So they know all the avenues available to them to correct these anomalies that are contained within the new patriotic party. Because I am just at sea as to what exactly that development levy is for. What is there to develop? Especially that you are a party that has just come out of power for 8 years, where the general populace believe that you looted the public purse. And there's a lot of money. If it is a way of taking back what was looted and giving it to Development Ghana, I don't know. Maybe we may relook at that. But I doubt if that is the concern. However, I feel that people within should talk. And like they say, this is a matter of the UFIASM. I am not so concerned about that. But I believe that the Ghanaian is judging them for this. Because the only question I have is, what are you developing? What development levy? And it is largely because the NPP currently has a leadership that has failed them woefully. A leadership that allow themselves to be controlled by the flag bearer, the previous president and his vice president. You allowed Nanado to have his way to do so many things. Then today, you now want to exert a certain force. And I always make this example, lastly. You remember the Ablekumanov incident, when a party, their chief scribe, their general secretary, their chairman and leadership came to announce to public TV that we will no longer contest in this election. Then none other than the candidate who wrote to that level on the ticket of the party grossly disrespects you, rubbishes you, and sorry, but tells you that you guys are stupid. I do not follow you. I will not follow such foolish thing. I am going to contest. Then again, sheepishly, that same leadership came in and then started following her, went in there to contest, and then lost the elections. That is a leadership that does not have a stand. That is a leadership that has failed. That is a leadership that cannot be called to lead.
Very well. Thank you, Comrade Elikem Kotoko. Thank you, Elvis Dako. Dr. Palgrave Boache Dankwa.
Please, in 30 seconds, NHIS is not working in this country. People are complaining. NHIS is not working in this country. Cash and carry has come back. This is not what you inherited from President Kufuor. This is not what you inherited from President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. NHIS, people cannot pay for labs. People cannot pay for OPD. We are struggling. We are suffering.
Thank you for joining us. This has been the News Review segment. Stay with us. The show continues after this.